How you doing, guys, and welcome to another EOS-M video. And in this video we're going to look at 3 different designs for my new production rig. Now this build isn't going to be for everybody because there might be some parts that you may not be able to get hold of, but this will definitely give you some ideas. And I'm going to put a picture from a user called Marco on the EOS-M group, and he's built a nice little compact rig that still looks professional and that can give you more ideas. Okay guys, so the first one we're going to look at is the cage, and obviously this is like the main core part of the rig. And this is a cage from my Panasonic BGH1. And it's a cage that I'm not using anymore because I sold the BGH1. This is going to be the main part, and this is going to be the part where I said you might not be able to get that because you don't really want to just buy a cage like this just to chop it up and to use for an EOS-M. So I will leave examples again like of rigs that are similar, but if you've got a cage like this, a universal square cage or something like this, you can build it up. So on this cage first, we're going to look at some parts that I've already put on here. So we've got a NATO rail on the top. We've got another NATO rail on the side, and here we've just got an Andy Cine cable clamp at the top here. These are quite cheap, but I'll put links to everything in the description. And I think this runs about £13 I got it for, so that if you see these more expensive, don't buy them because you can get these for about £13. And I've got a cold shoe mount on the side here, and here is a cable clamp. Now this is the original cable clamp that used to clamp on the back part here. But because I cut the this part off, I repurposed it and put it on the side here, but I just drilled a hole through it and it was able to just screw into one of the 1/4-20s here. So the first thing I had to do was chop out this whole section here. And that allows me to open the battery door of the EOS-M, and I can put batteries in and out, take the SD card in and out without me having to, you know, unscrew the whole cage. Because the way I mount this, it is a proper solid rig. So also, I'm going to refer to this device, and you've probably seen these. It's just a little cold shoe cheap adapter, and I use this for various things. So the first thing we want to do is we want to take off these 2 rings. We want to keep one of these rings because we're going to use this as a spacer for this cage. So what you can see here on the bottom of the EOS-M, I've got a mic adapter, a cheap mic adapter, and you can see obviously the screw holes line up, the 1/4-20s line up perfectly. The problem we've got here is that the mic adapter sits a bit higher than the EOS-M. So this is why I need the spacer when I put it in the cage. So the spacer will sit here, and then I get perfect flat alignment here, yeah? And then that will allow me to mount this on the cage so it's kind of even, and then I've got a double mounting system as well, so there's going to be no play in the camera. So the way I do that is I've got this long 1/4-20 screw here. This will go in the second hole of the BGH1 cage, and you can see obviously it fits flush in there. And then I'm going to take one of these spacers and then just screw it down here, yeah, just like that. So that's going to give me a nice flat base to work from. So you can see that inside there. Let me get a little bit closer. You can see that inside there. So let's get the EOS-M inside now. Let's do this up real tight because I want this tight. All right, so as you can see now, we've got the EOS-M inside. It's double mounted as well, so this isn't going anywhere. Very strong, very sturdy inside. Everything's nice. Now, as you can see, I've repurposed the HDMI cable. As I said, I drilled a hole in it, screwed it down, and it's perfect for the HDMI cable that's gonna go in the side. And the piece I cut from the bottom, you can see we've got full access to the battery door and SD card, which is amazing. So yeah, that's the rig part built there. So now we are going to install the battery. And for the battery, I'm using this small rig adapter. And as you can see, I've got that cheap cold shoe mount in the bottom. So what I did was I took this cold shoe and I had to cut it down just about halfway, yeah? And then what that allows me to do is screw it in here, and it still sits inside the gap. And then I've got the little tightening knob that comes on these cheap little mounting arms. I've put that on here and I faced it with the grooves going downwards. Now what that allows me to do is tighten this right up to the top, yeah? And I've got just enough space to push it into the hot shoe mount on the camera. Okay, so we've got the little cheap cold shoe mount in there and the little screw adapter from the ball head joint. And now this will be able to push right inside here, nice and tightly, and it just goes underneath the cage like so. And then we've got a nice battery just sitting on top there. So as you can see, it's starting to adopt this kind of cube shape now. So yeah, it's gonna look sick. So now Let's get a lens and we'll put the Sigma 18 to 35 on here. And then also we need to get the power. So I've got a dummy battery inside. So for the power cable, I've just got a shortened version, which I've made here. And this is gonna plug straight into the front. And then we're gonna run it through this gap here, through the cage, and then straight into the battery underneath. And as you can see, very neat and tidy, extremely neat and tidy. Awesome. Right, next, battery. There we go. And with the design like this, obviously you can still see your screen, but we can also check battery levels here as well. Yeah? So if we turn this on now, just by putting our finger underneath there, you can see we've got screen on, and you could actually run like this. So this would kind of be your first configuration. But we want to go a bit further than this. So this is a normal tilter handle, the tilter side handle, what you'll see on Komodos and stuff. I've just stripped the paint off and made it silver for a different rig. But on the NATO rail on the side, we're just going to put it on this side here. And you want quite a thick NATO rail because the lever, it can come right up against the camera. So you need to get quite a thick one. And then we've got another rig here. So this is really nice now for handheld shooting. Really good. Really stable, really nice. Just feels solid, like a nice solid chunky rig here. Yeah? So on the back here, you can see I've got the cheap mount for the magnifier. So we can also put a magnifier on here for proper handheld shooting and, you know, nailing that focus. But let's carry on and keep building up this rig. So the next thing I'm going to add is a Manfrotto base plate. And obviously we've got so many mounting holes here at the bottom. So we're just going to go into this one here and this adapted one here at the front. So now this is going to be good for tripods and gimbals, stuff like that. Starting to look really good. Okay, what should we do now? Let's go for a monitor. I've got this U-Rig clip here, and I like this U-Rig clip. It's quite a funky design, quite easy to use, sturdy. Yeah, so it's a nice clip. So we're gonna put this mount on now. Screw this down. Let's get a monitor. And now we're starting to look like a proper serious rig. Now I'm going to use this cable from Amazon. It's quite a thick braided cable, but I would probably use a thinner HDMI cable on here, probably a nice little black one. But for build sake, we're going to go with this one here from Amazon. So as you know, I've adapted the cable clamp here. So let's just open this up. And then we'll clamp this down so it's nice and tight. I don't want to do it too tight though, because sometimes I might want to just take this off when I feel like it. So I'm just tight enough so it doesn't bend or break. Then I'm going to wrap this cable through the middle, and then we've got a nice setup here ready for run and gun shooting. We are going to go further. So here you can see I've got a piece that I usually use on my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. And what we have here is just a cheap tripod mount, some rails here, and a V-mount on a small rig, little mini V-mount plate. So we're going to attach this now to the camera as well. Back it right up. And now we're starting to look serious. Let's get a matte box on there. Now I'm going to keep this battery on here because sometimes if I want to break it down and go light, I still want to leave this on here, and I like it because it gives it that kind of boxy shape. But we've got the V-mount on here. So for the V-mount, I'm just going to power the monitor so I can leave the monitor running. So let's just plug this in and get this plugged in as well. So now we've got separate power, so you can carry a few NPF batteries with you, and then the monitor can run separately off its own power. And here we have a fully decked out rig. So this is what I would call a production rig. So you've seen the different designs and I think they all look amazing. So if we want to add audio now, we would come round to this side and then we'll just get our Rode mic or whatever mic we have. I might need to unplug this HDMI cable again. Plug the Rode in. And then fit the HDMI back in. It's a nice and snug fit, so you will not have to worry about this being damaged, trust me. And there we go, we've got the mic, we've got monitor, we've got 2 power sources on here. I could actually power both units, the camera and the monitor, from this V-mount, but like I said, I'm using one for the monitor and separate ones for the battery in case I want to break it down, go on the gimbal and stuff like that. I don't have to keep mucking around. So yeah, let's just power this all on now and see how it looks. And we have live, a nice rig here we've got going on here. Yeah, this is awesome. This is awesome. Okay, so let's go out and shoot with this now and let's see what we can capture with this pro looking rig and hopefully we can get some great footage.
Let's